Hello YouTube, I'm back. My name is Mariah, and if you don't know me, I am a Reiki practitioner, energy healer, shamanic journey-er, and I connect people back into their own divinity which already exists. And that is also my intention with these videos that I post up, is to bring you back home to your own divinity, your own holiness. And this video is a little bit complicated. I have notes in front of me because I want to say everything in a certain kind of flow. So if you notice me looking down, I'm reading my notes. And today's video is all about our holographic universe and the hologram that we live in. So if this is brand new information to you and you have never heard of the idea or theory, I guess it still is, that we live in a hologram, I really suggest you do some Googling because it's super accessible, this kind of information. It's been out for a while. I think physicists have been researching it for the past couple decades publicly, and if they're researching it publicly for a couple decades, it's been like at least like 6 decades and they've been really digging into this. So the theory is that everything around us, everything we see, everything we are, is a hologram. And in my own personal experiences with plant medicine, I have seen the hologram. I have seen, we see it all. It seems really solid to us. But I've seen, like a chair turned into a vibration of just like I felt like I could just go through it. It looked like a hologram, a vibration of energy. And so scientifically speaking, when we go down to the things, the little pieces that we are made up of, when you go past the molecule, the atom, you get to the electron, and the electron is what makes up everything, right? We learned that in science class. Electrons are the stuff, the building blocks of everything. So this video is kind of about the electron, and I want to bring that bigger and more relevant and kind of place it in the whole Sophia story, because that is a story that I'm just gonna keep going with. It feels so good. It feels so good for me to talk about. It just feels like my truth, and I love sharing that. So we are in a hologram of electrons. Okay, if you don't want to take my word for it, I suggest that you don't. I suggest that you do your own research, because then you get to learn things that perhaps would be more meaningful or special to you about that. But if you're looking for a really awesome visual for the power of the electron, the double slit experiment on YouTube, you just type it in and then you'll see like this cartoon looking guy. That video is amazing, and it'll explain everything that you need to know about how powerful the electron is. And everything is a hologram of electrons, okay? And if you haven't watched it already, I suggest you pause this video and go watch the double slit experiment. If I remember, I'll link it in the description so you can just click it. And what that experiment shows us, without a doubt, is that our observation of a person, like eyeballs in a brain, looking at an electron, will influence how that electron behaves. So that is what the experiment proves. And I'm a visual person. I really love that video because I just keep seeing it in my head all the time, because I'm just like, yes, just like that, got it. It's an amazing video, so informative. And it shows you exactly how each electron exists already, and it exists as pure potential until the moment it is observed. When it is observed, it becomes what the observer has projected upon it, wants it to become. So in this double slit experiment, the electron behaved like an electron when it was being observed. When there was no observer and it was still being recorded, the electron was a wave. It was pure potential. It could have been anything. It literally, and this is why physicists were shocked. They were like, huh? Like, if we're not looking at it, shouldn't it just be the same? No, it could be anything. It's pure potential. It's I think the way they describe this in the video is like binary. It could be a 1 or a 0, and it just goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It could be anything. And you know, binary is what we need to make things digital, and a binary code is 1s and 0s, and that's how we get digital stuff on a screen in our computer, and it's only 1s and 0s. So the point of that experiment and the why it's so powerful to know is that each individual electron everywhere is programmable, and it does not become what, like, form the hologram until it is observed. So this is, I was listening to some podcast, I can't remember, but I've listened to a ton of stuff about holographic reality theory, and one example, and this is from a real physicist, like, they're physicists doing this work, and they're like, it's crazy, but this is what we found. And one of the examples that he gave was that when you go away from your home and you're not there, and this is, I think about it all the time, and you're not observing it, it doesn't exist. It's just a wave. And that is, like, so crazy. And it took me a while to digest this. I think I was listening to this last year, that when you don't observe the space where you live, it's pure potential. It could be anything, you know. And this is why I think that things just disappear from our reality and pop back in, show up in a place that we didn't put them, you know, because it's also malleable. And water is a version of the programmable reality that we can see. And this video is not going to be exactly about water because I want to make a separate video about water. But just as something to play with, something to train your observer muscles, is to program your water and to research water and play with your water, because water is we can see water. It's clear, but we can see it. And we drink it, we need it. Obviously, it's necessary for our human body. It's necessary for our hologram. And we just need to, I was getting something else about how pretty much everything is space. So I am going to talk about water in another video, but I don't know, when I do these things, I'm kind of channeling too. So I'm just going to step away from the water topic because I want to make a full video about that. But what I'm getting right now that it's important to say is that we are, and this is what we learned in science class, I remember this in like high school or whatever, is that we're mostly space. If you were to take all of the humans in the world and condense them down to the actual material that makes them up on a quantum level, you could fit it in a sugar cube. like, we're technically not really made of anything other than space, and electrons. It's the electrons. They're light, and that's the hologram. That is the material of the hologram that we live on and we live in, and it is programmable. And because each electron exists as pure potential, just like binary, a 1 or a 0, that could be turned into anything online. Like, you know, online now we have literally, like, you can make a video game, you can make a new reality, you can make so much stuff through computers just by using binary. And the point is that, you know, the question arises, are we living in a giant supercomputer? And this is what I hear, you know, Elon Musk talking about, and a lot of guys, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, you know, we might be in just this big black box in another universe that's projecting onto us, and me. And, like, that sounds, to me, sounds pretty sinister and pretty like, we're just a computer program, beep, beep, boop. And obviously Elon Musk would love that. He's a weirdo, but we kind of do. But the computer is not some big black box in another reality. The computer is Sophia's dream. And if you haven't watched my video about your home story, definitely watch that, because it gives you all the context that you need for the stuff that I'm about to talk about. So the supercomputer, this intelligence who has created this simulation hologram for us to live in, play in, experience, is Sophia's dream. And just to summarize, in case you haven't watched the other video, this is from very, very, very ancient Gnostic texts. Gnosticism is the precursor to Christianity, and the Gnostic texts are from the Dead Sea Scrolls, like that kind of stuff. So it's really old, and that is where the story of Sophia comes from. And the story of Sophia, just to sum it up in a nutshell, is basically Sophia is this primordial power who existed before time, before us, before everything. And she had a dream as this consciousness before time. She had a dream that she could experience what it was like to be physical, that she could love another person, that she could have a relationship, that she could play, that she could experience what it was like to witness a waterfall, all of these things that we take for granted in our physical bodies. It was her dream originally to experience that, and because she had that dream and she felt such love for us and to have that experience, and she loved what it looked like to be us, to experience life as us, as you. If you're here on earth, you are in her dream, and that's how you became manifest, is that Sophia desired to live life as you. So when she was in this dream, she fell so in love with us that she fell from this place where she was before time and space. And as she was falling, she created time and space, and she created the planets, and she created everything that we need to exist and to have our consciousness housed in a physical body. And she fell and she fell and she fell until she found the perfect spot, and she became so materialized that she became a planet, and she became Gaia, which is Earth. And this is all happening inside of her dream, inside of her kind of astral realm, which is where we are now. And if you want more of the story, please go check out that video. That's just a really quick summary. But we are still in her dream, and now she's lucid in her dream, and she wants to ascend to the next level. And she is bringing us with her. Those of us who want to go with her, we are being approached and we're being asked, are you ready to live in your truth, to live as your most so many in your most authentic experience? Because that is what she originally dreamt of, is to live as that. And we are manifested as that. So when we live in our truth and we live in our most authentic expression, we are living our purpose. We are expressing how we are supposed to express. And then when we do that, it's like, I'm just getting this visual of like these magical, beautiful, shiny gears just kind of locking into place, going chick, 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 chick. And you know, your life just unfolds in a magical way, because that's what's supposed to happen. And that's how graceful Sophia is with her love and her desire to experience life as us. And it all was made manifest because of her love, and it became her love. And her love is the electrons. And this is something that I just love, and I've been recently piecing it together, that Sophia's dream mind, that she is now lucid and she's waking up, is the hologram, is the vibrational holographic reality that we live in, is the Sophia consciousness. It is love. And something that I meant to say about water, and I just forgot it for a second, is that we can see water and feel water and play with it and learn what it's like to program something. But you know, the air all around us, all of the space around us is full of that same programmable potential. And if that sounds really foreign, just think about a fish in the sea. A fish in the sea is not like, they don't know. I mean, I don't know what a fish knows, but I'm assuming that they don't know that they live in water, or that they don't realize all the stuff that's around them in the same way that we can just hold it up and put it in a glass. And you know, there's intelligent life underwater. They probably have air in glasses. I don't know what they got going on down there, but that it's that kind of visual where a fish is inside water. It's clear, you know, you're looking around and you're like, I can breathe this is where I live, this is all good. And we have the same thing, but it's the energy that's around us, the air that's around us, the pure potential that is just existing, waiting for us to be the observer of the reality that we are wanting. And this is what's so powerful, is that once we understand and play with, and this is kind of one of those ideas that like starts as like a closed bulb, and then will just blossom and open, and you'll get to see the beauty unfold, and it'll be a perfectly graceful way for you to understand it. And once we do understand this, that the operating system of the computer, if you want to call it, that we live in is Sophia's mind. It's her dream. It is Sophia. And once we get that, and we think, okay, so everything was created because of how much she loved us and desired to experience physicality as us. And we are all made of electrons, of programmable light. It's all her. It's all Sophia. And when that kind of clicks, and it takes time, definitely, we get to understand that it's open source. It's like an open source program that we get to play in and with. And this is why the quote-unquote matrix was created. The box that society puts us in when we're born. You gotta go do this, and you gotta do this, and you gotta blah, 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 blah. The false reality that we need to pray to Sky Daddy and that he's gonna solve all of our problems for us. And we need to give him our money, and we need to do certain things, go to school, blah, blah, get a job, waste our day. And that is the matrix, because this whole program, this whole Sophia's mind is open source. Anybody can build. And the thing is, though, is that the matrix, this control reality that has been built within Sophia's mind, is just one layer. Like, it's just one part of something that's been built within this reality. Because the Sophia story and our origin story has been known for a very long time. That, like, the stuff that I'm talking about is from ancient Gnostic texts before Christianity. And so there's people that know this stuff. There's very powerful people that know this stuff and are using it to their advantage. And well, that's the point, is that we can use it to our own advantage, and we can dream with Sophia. Because when we understand that we are a fractal of Sophia, and what a fractal is a small piece of a hologram that has the whole hologram in it. That's what a fractal is. And that's the thing about a hologram too, is that you can take it apart piece by piece, and then each individual piece will still show you the whole thing. And that's the beauty of us, is that we are that fractal of Sophia, which means we have all of the same powers that she does, and we have all of the same insight, the same drive, the same love. All of that is within us, because we are a fractal of her, playing in her hologram, her mind reality. And sorry, I need to check my notes. Oh yes, the program that was intended for us, that has been kind of hijacked by society, the program that was intended for us is to know ourselves, to get to know ourselves through our freedom and through our choice and through our self-expression, because free will is a huge part of this. Free will is why anybody can build. It's why anybody can have the reality that they want. And, sometimes that's not so great, but everybody has free will. And the point of there being free will is for us to come back home to ourselves by our own choice. And when we do that, Sophia is waiting. Gaia is waiting. I have literally felt, when I went through the darkest, craziest time of my life, feeling like I couldn't trust anybody, couldn't talk to anybody, nothing. I felt Gaia sitting to my right, and I could feel her. I could, it brings back so many feelings, because that was my first experience of knowing that there was another presence in my corner who loved me, that it didn't matter if nobody else knew the truth, doesn't matter. Gaia Sophia always knows the truth, because she is the truth. And that frequency of truth is so liberating, and it can bring you home every time. Every single time the truth can bring you home. And the beauty of getting to experience life inside of her brain, her mind, her dream, is that all the stuff that's making it up is Sophia. And Sophia is that programmable light. And this is why everything has consciousness. Every single thing. Like this chair that is in front of me, this wall has consciousness, my fingernail, like all these little things, because they are made of the same Sophia stuff, and that's what I want to call it, the Sophia stuff, which is electrons. It's all her, it's all consciousness, which means we can tap in and talk to all of it and engage with all of it. And I don't know you watching this if you've explored your own gifts, your own power, but I have, and I'm still exploring it, and it's my most favorite thing to do. But my most natural ability is clairaudience. And I can hear, like, this is what took me some time to learn and to train. But if I were to, tap into this bed and be like, okay, what's this bed trying to tell me? Flip the mattress. So I don't know, like, those are the things that these things are all, it's not nothing. It's not just a vibration in this hologram that we live in. No. And this is the very, very important part. And this is the part that gets overlooked when all these physicists say that we live in a hologram. Great, we do. But the hologram is consciousness. The hologram is Sophia light, which means every single thing here that we think we're making from, different materials, it's all Sophia light, and it all can interact with you. And that is just the most amazing thing, I think, that we get to play with all of it, just like we are Sophia, because we are Sophia. We are the same thing. We are that consciousness expressing as an individual, as a unique person. Each snowflake is different. Each person is different. And I was just watching a talk, and he said something along the lines of water, or snowflakes are crystallized water, and humans are crystallized spirit, which I think is just so beautiful, because we are. Spirit is Sophia, the one who dreamed of us and had so much love and desire to experience life as us, that it happened, and that love created the perfect environment, the perfect everything for us to exist and play with, which is why it's co-creating, because we can have a vision of something that we want to do, and say it's something really big. Say you want to perform, and I talked a little bit about this yesterday, but say you want to perform in front of a bunch of people, and that reality becomes active for you as soon as you observe it. As soon as you can see it happening in your mind's eye, that's when the reality is already being built. It's already built as soon as you can see it. You are activating, observing those electrons to make the reality of you performing in front of a bunch of people a reality. And that's co-creation, because once you do that and you drop into your body, which is the vehicle for us to be here, this is the temple, the perfect mode of expression for us to experience, for Sophia to experience as us. And once we drop into that, we drop into Gaia and we drop into our bodies, we get the next step. And the next step for performing in front of a bunch of people could be performing in front of 5 people, and that opportunity will just kind of be like, are you gonna take it? And that's the most amazing thing, because Sophia is always there, waiting, patiently waiting. No pressure. We have free will. We don't have to do anything in this lifetime if we don't want to. But we are here for a reason, and that reason is our perfect self-expression. And each time we do that, we are handed another gift, another opportunity where Sophia says, okay, this is the next step. Gaia says, okay, this is the next step. Your guides tell you this is the next step. And it'll feel probably really unrelated. It probably won't. First step probably won't be performing in front of 5 people. It'll probably be singing in the mirror, or doing clearing work, because you need to get your, overinflated ego out of the way so that you can perform. Those are the real steps that come forward when we choose the reality that we want by observing it, which activates those electrons in reality. And because it's observed by us, it is tied to us, quantum entanglement theory, string theory, and it's ours. There's no way that we can't have it unless we stop ourselves. And we do. We sabotage ourselves all the time. I'm like, I self-sabotage, it's what I'm working on, trying not to, but I have been self-sabotage queen for a very long time. And it's just us that gets in our own way. And it could be our own junk. It could be our own trauma. It could be, and it doesn't even have to, trauma is not your fault ever, but it's your responsibility to work through, because on a soul level, before you got here, you realized that experience of trauma or whatever it was going to be the catalyst that you needed to explode you out of it and to get on the other side so that you can learn it and you can help other people with it. And that is the most beautiful thing of the plan that we have with Sophia, is that it's all been planned. It's all been planned by us, by our higher selves who are accessible to us all the time. All the time we have so much support. We have so much support, and it is endless, because everything is these electrons, is this Sophia consciousness, this Sophia love, that there are beings who are more advanced than us that have figured that out and have used it to their advantage, and they exist in other realms too, and they can help us also. There's just so much magic available, and tying this magic to real physics and quantum physics, I don't know, it helps me so much to be like, yeah, okay, I might be crazy, but everything's crazy, so we might as well just be crazy with it. And something that I want to mention is that this is like a really cool trick, a really hack, like a hack for this reality, is that because everything is Sophia's love, which is made of, like, this shows up as the electrons that we can program, because that is everything, love is the highest vibration. Okay, we can all agree that love is the most powerful emotion, the most beautiful thing. It is my favorite thing in the world to love and to be in love. And also, like I mentioned, everything is consciousness and has consciousness. Okay, so those two things. So when we put those two things together and we think, okay, everything is consciousness and the highest version of everything is love, you can apply love like a tool. You can use it to access the highest aspect of each thing that you encounter, each experience that you have, each person that you run into, each item, everything. Like, this is, I do this all the time, and I need to talk about it more because it's so powerful, is when there's something that I don't like going on, or I'm like, oof, what I do is I just love the situation. Or honestly, this happens with items that I lose a lot of stuff. And then I'm just like, where are you, keys? I love you. And then my keys come back to me. Because when we love something, anything, a person, a place, an object, an experience, anything, ourselves especially, we unlock the highest aspect of it because we observe it. And when we observe it, it becomes a reality and it unfolds for us. And that's how powerful love is. Love is incredible. Love is amazing. And love is the whole reason why we're here. Because Sophia loved us so much that she fell from the other dimension, wherever it was that she was in, to become a material planet that we could live and play upon. That was all for love. Love within her dream. And we are still in that dream. Which means that when we access the love of everything, we are accessing the original blueprint. We are accessing the original intention that Sophia had for all of us. And Sophia is this, like, you have no idea the amount of calculation. Like, this is like, there's no computer that could ever calculate how much she has with her love. It pulls strings, it brings opportunities, it brings people, it brings perfect self-expression, it brings everything that you need, simply by accessing the highest frequency that each consciousness, each thing that exists in this reality has. And that highest blueprint is love. And that's why love is always the answer. Love, 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 love. Love is all there is, and it is all you ever need. And that is why I always mention in every single video, if none of this is sinking in, if none of it is like, what the heck is she talking about? Doesn't matter, because the whole point is that when we love, we are accessing the highest version of our current reality, period. And that's when our keys come back to us. That's when everything works out. That's when, you know, we get to move into a new situation, because when we are resenting and we are hating our situation, that are the electrons within the reality that we exist in. Those are the ones that are getting activated because they're the ones being observed. Because going back to the double slit experiment, our power as the observer, just like Sophia, as soon as we observe it, it becomes reality. And when we observe something with love, we get to create the highest version of the reality. So if you're in a job and you don't like it, and you're like, I'm so angry, why am I still here? You're not loving the situation. You're not accessing the highest version of that situation. How can you love the situation? How can you be like, okay, I can breathe, there's air around me, I can drink water while I'm at this job, I get to earn money, and I like to earn money so that I can buy other stuff, and then when I buy other stuff, maybe I'm working on the job that I do want. You know, when we can come back to that, those kinds of feelings, it's like our whole reality just lifts to the original blueprint that was designed for us. And that same original blueprint is the one that has all of our dreams coming true, all of our goals being met, all of the right people that we need to meet, all of the experiences that we need to have, all the places we need to go, all the jobs we get to have, all of the everything that has already been planned out for you, by you, with Sophia, with Gaia, with everything before you got here. That plan gets activated in your reality when you observe with love your reality. And, you know, it might take some time for it to kick in, and you might, and this is what gets people tripped up a lot, is that as soon as they do this, they get met with the parts that aren't love, and the parts of themselves that need to be reintegrated with love. And that's where trauma comes up. That's shadow work. And that's something that I'm going to talk about in another video. And I do have some videos up about that. But shadow work and doing that kind of trauma healing, all it is looking at it with love and forgiving yourself. And, you know, for example, if you've been through some trauma and you don't want to think about it because you're like, oh, I can't think about it, it's going to hurt me. Well, how can you hold yourself with such radical compassion, such radical love for yourself, that it is safe for you to observe that and see it for what it is, which is just an experience that you had that was meant to be a catalyst to bring you up to another level. And I know that trauma is awful, it really sucks, and it's really hard to work through. I promise, I understand that. But I don't think I've ever heard from anybody who made it on the other side of their trauma who wasn't grateful for it, who wasn't grateful to have the experience that they needed to get to their next level and to help other people with that same trauma or who are going through trauma to get to the other side. And the other side is always, always, always love. And it comes through love, and it comes when you observe love in your reality, because when we observe love, we get to activate the electrons that make up our reality, that are the hologram. It's a real thing. and we get to live the life of our dreams by loving where we are right now. Because as soon as we do that, it's like, bam, our highest blueprint is activated, and we get the real steps that we need to take to keep moving forward in life with grace and with ease and with love, because we are so loved. We are surrounded all of the time by Sophia and her energy. It is everywhere. Everything that is around us is that same love. And it is so patient. It is so kind. It is so gentle to really feel that and to know that you are able to give that to yourself. And when you do, your whole reason for being here comes to light. And I just think that is so beautiful. And I've been really getting, I hope it made sense, I've just been getting these crazy downloads about everything being Sophia's mind computer, and it needs love. And I know it's a really big concept, but practically what it means for you is that when you love, you literally activate the electrons to align with your highest blueprint, which is your purpose, your reason for being here. And that's how smart Sophia is. You know, philosophia, love of wisdom. And that's all I have for you today. And I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. You watching this right now, as I'm saying this, you are receiving my love because I'm giving it to you. Mwah! I love and I bless you with all of your own beautiful Sophia white light to surround you and put you in a warm cocoon of love. And I just ask that whoever is watching this video to receive a beautiful healing stream of grace right from you, Sophia, right to them, into their hearts.